Hello, welcome to this video on recruitment and selection. So why do businesses need to recruit staff? To help with expansion. Because someone's retired. Because someone got promoted and we need to fill the gap that they left behind. Because we have a seasonal business and at different times of the year we need more staff. Or perhaps we have new technology and we need new staff. There's lots of reasons why businesses need to recruit workers. So by the end of this video, we should be able to describe the stages in the recruitment and selection process, analyze the advantages and disadvantages of internal and external recruitment, and then look at the extent to which effective recruitment and selection is important for a business to achieve its objectives. So let's start off with the recruitment process. Let's bring it up and then identify some key points. So first of all, we need to look at the number and type of employees that we need. Then we need to analyze the jobs. What are these jobs entailing? What does the job entail? And what sort of people do we need to fill it? And we do that by then creating a job description and a person specification. We advertise internally or externally. We draw up a shortlist. We then select. And then once we've done that, we make an appointment. So this is the typical process through which we recruit staff. So the first stage there, once we've analysed the job, thought about what this job involved, is to create what's known as a job description. That's a document that shows the tasks and responsibilities of a worker in a job. Normally includes a job title and refer to the position of the role in the organisational hierarchy. So for example, on the left-hand side, here is a job description. This is the job description for an accounts clerk. So the job title, accounts assistant, grade 1, and they're reporting to the accounts team leader. What do they do? Well, these are their responsibilities: dealing with invoices, allocating cost codes, arranging payments. What's their salary going to be? And what are the hours and conditions of work? Would you fancy this job? Maybe not. So this is a job description. And this is useful because we usually include some of this in the job advert, and we can use this during appraisals once we've appointed the worker to tell them how well they're performing. They can also help to identify and prioritize the skills a person would need to do a job well, so that we have the right applicants and that we make the right choice. So this is what the role involves. What sort of person do we need for this role? A person specification is a document that shows us the characteristic of the person required to do this particular job. For example, the qualifications, skills, and experience. So let's imagine the job description previously had described, let's say, a nursery nurse. What would be the person that we would require? So here we talk about the experience that they need: 2 years post-qualifying experience in a daycare setting. Educational training, so maybe some sort of qualification in early years children and childcare. Their skills and abilities, they need to be able to do these, work as part of a team, communicate with a range of people, be organised, be caring, and so on. So if we have a job description describing the nature of the job and the tasks, this is a person specification describing the kind of qualifications, skills, and experience that we're looking for in applicants. Why are these useful? Well, they can be useful when we're shortlisting applicants to decide who we think is most appropriate. And again, we can use them during appraisals after the appointment to assess whether they're demonstrating the required skills. So we looked at the recruitment and selection process. Now let's move on to our next step. Internal versus external recruitment. Internal recruitment is where we fill a vacant post with someone who already works for the business, someone already employed in the business. Lots of businesses have internal websites where they advertise roles to the staff who already work within the business. For example, here's a screenshot of the careers section of the BBC that BBC employees can look at and see whether there might be other jobs within the organisation that they'd be interested in applying for. External recruitment is where we fill the vacant post with somebody not already employed in the business. And a typical job search website will be listing vacant posts for people to apply for who aren't already part of the business, they're just part of the public or another business within that industry. So what are the advantages of recruiting internally from within the organization? Well, they're familiar with the business and the workings of the business, so they're maybe less likely to require training, and they could be up to speed operationally more quickly. The candidate will be well known to the employer, so it's maybe easier to be sure of their skills and experience. And it can maybe help motivate the workforce if you feel that you've got a chance of being promoted from within the business. Also, we don't have to advertise for this role we don't have to advertise externally, which normally costs more. So we're going to save some money here. Advantages of external recruitment, getting someone from outside the business. Well, we have a much wider pool of candidates who it might be easier to find the person with the right skills. An external candidate may bring fresh ideas to the business. It avoids creating another vacancy within the business. So when we recruit internally, whatever post they've come from, we then have to fill that post that it passes the problem on. Whereas externally, it's someone fresh into the workforce, doesn't create a vacancy elsewhere in the business. And perhaps less likely to cause resentment in unsuccessful internal candidates. So we've got up to advertising so far and internal, external recruitment. Now let's move on to selection. So there's a number of ways in which businesses will select. Normally they would whittle it down a bit by creating a short list. So maybe we've had 100 applicants. We'll look at how they match the job description and the person specification, and we'll narrow it down to maybe 10, and then we'll have to make some sort of selection from that process. These are the most common selection options. You'll probably be familiar with the concept of an interview. You come in and meet your prospective employer, and they ask you questions about the role. Sometimes it's called a panel interview, so you might meet your line manager as well as some senior management as well. Another option is called an assessment center, and this may be where the shortlisted candidates are invited to go and do some tasks. So maybe perform the sorts of tasks they might be doing, or perform some group activities perhaps, and then watching your performance in the assessment center, they might then select. They might also perform some tests, maybe some psychometric testing, things like verbal and non-verbal reasoning and social awareness and sort of general generic all-round skills, or maybe more specific to the actual job you're going to be doing, aptitude testing. They're also likely to look at your references, whichever your previous employer was. They will maybe contact them and ask for a reference about you. So using these selection techniques, businesses will then choose someone. Another thing a business might consider is outsourcing recruitment. So rather than doing all the shortlisting and processing themselves, they might get another business to do this for them. Often this is called headhunting within business. You might get another firm who know the market very well, who know the industry, to identify people who might be suitable for the job, screen them, prep them, and then get them to come for the final selection stage. Why is it important to recruit effectively for a business? Well, the right person is going to be more effective at work, increasing productivity. They're less likely to leave, creating a vacancy to fill, and perhaps meaning a deterioration in quality. Fewer training requirements if we get it the right person. It is expensive and time consuming, so if the wrong person is hired and we have to do it all again, that's more time and more expense. So in this video, we've looked at the recruitment and selection process, internal, external recruitment, and then why getting the recruitment right is important for the business. That's it. Thank you very much for listening.